October 9th, 2026, Port of Houston, Texas. At 5:38 a.m., the water turns black, not oil, not pollution. The surface of Galveston Bay darkens across a 2-mile stretch like something beneath it swallowed the light. Port cameras capture a figure walking across the waterline. A massive man, grinning, rings on every finger, moving through the dark water like it's solid ground. The first cargo ship in his path doesn't sink, it folds. The hull crumples inward toward a point that doesn't exist. 60,000 tons of steel, dragged into a circle of darkness the size of a city block. The ship is gone. Not at the bottom of the bay. Gone. His name is Marshall D. Teach. Blackbeard. He carries 2 abilities that have never existed in the same body before. A darkness that swallows anything it touches, and the power to crack the earth itself. One pulls everything in. The other pushes everything apart. The Pentagon receives the footage at 6:02 a.m. By 6:04, every branch of the military is on alert. He absorbs what you throw at him into nothing and hits back harder than you thought possible. The harder you hit Blackbeard, the worse your situation gets. 6:30 a.m. First response. 6:30 a.m. 2 Reaper drones fire hellfires from 20,000 feet. Standard protocol. Blackbeard raises one hand. Darkness pools outward from his palm. A disk of absolute black spreading across the ground. Both missiles fly into it. There is no detonation. No shrapnel, no heat signature. The warheads cross the threshold and simply cease to exist, the darkness having swallowed the explosion before it could happen. The drones circle back for another pass. Blackbeard clenches his fist. Both Reapers shudder against a lateral pull that shouldn't exist and are dragged into the black, consumed without sound. The darkness doesn't block attacks. It erases them. 7 a.m. Ground engagement. 7 a.m. A Marine battalion from Ellington Field. 800 soldiers surrounding a 6-block perimeter. They open fire. Rifles, machine guns, grenades. Blackbeard walks directly into the gunfire. Rounds hit him. He flinches. He bleeds. A .50 caliber burst catches him across the chest and he drops to one knee, coughing blood. For a moment, a real, genuine moment, it looks like they might have a chance. Unlike every other character in this series, Blackbeard feels pain. All of it. The darkness doesn't make him invulnerable, it makes him a sponge. He takes damage, and he keeps coming. He slams both hands into the pavement. The ground splits. Not a crack, a rupture. A shockwave radiating outward, and the street buckling in a 50-meter radius, asphalt heaving upward in jagged slabs. Humvees flip, soldiers are thrown, a warehouse at the perimeter's edge folds in on itself. One strike. The entire perimeter is rubble. Blackbeard hasn't moved beyond the spot where he was standing. He doesn't need to chase anyone. The ground does it for him. 8:30 a.m. Heavy armor. 8:30 a.m. Abrams tanks from Fort Cavazos, Apaches from the west, the military escalating to armor designed for peer-to-peer combat. The first Abrams fires, tungsten sabot at Mach 5. It crosses the distance in a breath. Blackbeard catches it, not with his hands, with the darkness. A pool of shadow opens in the air and the round disappears into it. He extends the darkness across the road. The lead tank touches the edge and lurches forward. 60 tons of steel dragged toward a man pulling it with nothing. The tank reaches him. He places one hand on the hull and the tremor power activates. A focused quake splits the Abrams down the center seam. The two halves fall apart, still smoking. Apaches fire hellfires from a mile out. 3 missiles enter the darkness field. 2 vanish. The third detonates at the edge, close enough to throw Blackbeard sideways. He hits a collapsed wall hard enough to crack the concrete behind him. The darkness field flickers, destabilizes for half a second, debris that was orbiting him dropping to the ground. Then it snaps back. He gets up laughing, blood running from his temple. He's not untouchable. He's unkillable in practice because the pain doesn't slow him down. It fuels him. He answers with a shockwave that ripples half a mile. Every window in the port district shatters. An Apache caught in the wave spirals into the bay. 10 a.m. F-35s from NAS Fort Worth. AIM-120 missiles from 40 miles out. The strategy is distance. Stay beyond the range of the darkness, overwhelmed with volume. 8 missiles converge from different vectors. Blackbeard extends the darkness upward, a hemisphere of absolute black that rises 200 feet and swallows everything that enters. 6 miles vanish into it. 2 detonate against the outer edge. Blackbeard is inside, untouched. The F-35s try a second pass at low altitude. One enters the gravitational pull zone, and the pilot feels the jet lurch sideways. Controls fighting a force the flight computer can't identify. He punches out. The jet folds inward as it crosses the threshold, compressed into scrap. The airspace above Houston now belongs to Blackbeard. A second F-35 fires its cannon from outside the dome. Blackbeard drops the dome, takes the rounds across his chest, staggers, then retaliates with a vertical quake strike that catches the jet at 3,000 feet and tears its wings off. 11 a.m., GBU-57, 30,000 pounds, 11 tons of TNT, B-2 at 45,000 feet. The bomb falls. Blackbeard looks up, expanding the darkness to its widest point yet, a quarter-mile of gravitational void, pulling debris, vehicles, and wreckage into orbit around him. The Moab enters the darkness. For a fraction of a second, nothing happens. Then the ground shakes. The bomb didn't detonate inside the void. The darkness absorbed the kinetic energy, and Blackbeard redirected it. A quake erupts outward from his position that registers 5.8 on a seismograph in Dallas. The port of Houston, refineries, shipping infrastructure, storage facilities, collapse across a 2-mile radius, the ground liquefying in place, fires igniting from ruptured fuel lines. The military didn't damage him. They gave him ammunition. Every joule of energy the Moab carried was absorbed, converted, and returned at a scale that dwarfs the original weapon. The harder they hit, the harder the Earth hits back. Satellite shows one figure at the center of what used to be a port, surrounded by debris held in gravitational orbit. 11:30 a.m. The nuclear question. Someone raises the nuclear option. USS Wyoming, Trident II's 80 megatons. The analysts run the scenario. It takes 4 minutes to kill. Blackbeard's darkness has absorbed kinetic energy, heat, and explosive force without limit all morning. Every weapon that entered the void ceased to exist. There's no evidence the effect has a ceiling. If the darkness absorbs a nuclear detonation the same way it absorbed everything else, the energy doesn't disappear. It transfers. 80 megatons of redirected seismic force released through Blackbeard's quake ability would flatten everything within a 100-mile radius. Houston, Galveston, Beaumont. 6 million people. The nuke doesn't stop him. It makes him a geological weapon. The president kills the strike. 12 p.m. Collapse. There is no stand down. There is no ceasefire. Blackbeard doesn't negotiate, and nobody is offering. By noon, the military has lost operational control of the Houston metropolitan area. The port is destroyed. Every asset sent into the engagement zone has been absorbed, crushed, or shaken apart. The darkness field is still expanding. Blackbeard is walking inland. Not fast, not urgent, just moving, grinning, bleeding, unstoppable. Command channels are overlapping. Units that were given coordinates to hold are retreating without authorization. A tank battalion refuses to advance after watching the column ahead of them get dragged into the dark. Helicopter crews are requesting emergency redeployment. The chain of command isn't breaking, it's dissolving. The military pulls back to a 50-mile perimeter, not because they've been ordered to, because there is nothing left to send. Final assessment. The U.S. military, 1.3 million soldiers, 13,000 aircraft, 6,000 tanks, 5,500 nuclear warheads. Against a man who eats firepower and spits back earthquakes. Could they kill him? Blackbeard is not invulnerable. He bleeds, he staggers, he takes every hit full force and feels all of it. A sustained assault with enough precision and volume could theoretically overwhelm him before the darkness activates. But they can't sustain it, because every weapon that touches the void feeds the problem. Missiles become nothing, bombs become earthquakes. The military's entire doctrine is built on escalating force, and escalating force against Blackbeard is the worst strategy in existence. The darkness has no known limit. The quake ability scales with absorbed energy, and the man at the center treats pain like motivation. Every other character in this series either overpowered the military or outsmarted it. Blackbeard did something worse. He made their own weapons work against them. The more they fought, the stronger he got. The harder they hit, the worse the damage. And by the end, the military wasn't losing a battle, it was feeding a disaster. Blackbeard doesn't win wars, he consumes them.